I'm gazing at wonder at this fancy playlist. All the huge crossover artists who could do no wrong. Got Billy Ocean, just mentioned him. Patti LaBelle earlier on this fancy playlist. And, well, Cool and the Gang, they had some big crossover hits in the 80s. Phil Collins, a blue-eyed soul singer, basically. I mean, the guy just put in a lot of passion and soul in his music and his singing. It's just he came out with one fetching record right after another. Phil Collins, who was the lead singer of Genesis, the drummer of Genesis, replacing Peter Gabriel, I believe it was back in the 70s. The first hit that I remember by Genesis with Phil Collins here in America was Follow You and Follow Me. It was sort of a calypso sounding record back in the summer of 1978. And then Phil Collins releasing his solo albums In the Air Tonight, very famous for that. That was in 1981. But No Jacket Required. Sussudio, first single. I mean, this was a Motown sounding record almost. Harkens back to Motown, the backbeat, infectious record. One More Night, Take Me Home. Take Me Home was a nice record too. And Don't Lose My Number. The interesting thing about Don't Lose My Number, it was not released as a single in England. It went to number 4 here in the States. Or was it number 6? Well, number 4. Top 5 here in the States. And the video to this song, well, it's a funny video. I have to give it to some of these artists because they really stretch themselves out when they do the videos. They really, I don't know what their uh, comfort zones are, but they really stretch out of their comfort zones. And Bill Collins couldn't think of a theme for the video to Don't Lose My Number. Therefore, he just made a video about coming up with some ideas for a theme. He auditioned directors who gave him some bad ideas. He did these parodies, this brilliant parody of California Girls by David Lee Roth, where he's kind of parading in front of these beautiful women in bathing suits. And there was that funny thing that he did, Cars You Might Think. Did sort of a humorous take on You Might Think by the Cars, and Elton John's I'm Still Standing, he did a parody of that as well. It was a brilliant video. Phil Collins had this great sense of humor. You might remember the song he did later on called I Can't Dance. He had that self-deprecation about him, I guess. Anyway, I need to read his book too. He came out with a biography, Not Dead Yet, came out with a biography several years ago. Well, anyway, let's see. Is there anything else I need? Oh, how the song was written. It was actually written about a woman named Billy, an absolutely drop-dead gorgeous named Billy, who was being chased by some shadowy organization. And it was written, he wrote this song during the sessions of Face Values, his first debut album, his first solo debut album. He improvised the lyrics to it, didn't really understand what it was all about. But the thing about this record, when I first heard it, it's like, Billy, Don't Lose My Number. That was the hook. Of course, the beat was a hook too, but it was reinforced by that chorus, Billy, Don't Lose My Number. And it just sticks in your head. You're like thinking, who's Billy? Man, he must be really in love with this woman. Billy, don't lose my number. Well, the song is at number 16 on my fancy playlist, on its way up 3 from number 19, lockstep, going upward, fancy playlist of August 10th, 1985.